Hi guys, I'm live. I'm with Grappling Hearts. Today we have Mr. Todd on here. Really excited. Todd's an OG memer as well as a BJJ fanatic. Super excited to have you on, Todd.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's cool to be here.
Absolutely. I guess to start us off, let's start with your life maybe before jiu-jitsu, about like the hobbies you might have had.
Okay. Um, let's see. Before jujitsu, I was let's see, mainly had two daughters. Um, so their hobbies were my hobbies as far as sports, things like that. Um, I was working a corporate job and a friend of mine got me into jogging. So that was probably the closest thing to a physical hobby. And it actually helped me get to jujitsu, um, kind of a weird way. But other than that, I didn't get started in jujitsu until I was in my mid 30s. And I started because of a back injury, which I guess is kind of weird. Most people leave jujitsu when they get bumps and bruises.
Right. So with that back injury, was it somebody telling you, hey, jiu-jitsu might help you, or was it like a recommendation from a doctor, as weird as that may sound?
So um, I was trying to. A friend of mine was really into long distance running, like marathons and things like that. And he kind of inspired me to run like shorter distances because I've always been a bigger guy. And so I was shooting for like 10Ks and like ultimately I wanted to run a half marathon at least. That was my thought. Um, but I ended up, I think it was a combination of the running and I had tweaked my back on a Nordic track machine, the old cross country ski machine,
Okay.
and one day it just gave way, and I had two discs in my very bottom of my back blow out, and at the chiropractor, as I was starting to get treatment, I saw that a martial arts school was opening up near me, and it was actually a taekwondo school. And I always wanted to do martial arts, so I signed up, signed my daughter up, signed my wife up, and got into that. And it was the absolute worst thing you could do with a back injury is try to kick up in the sky. Um, so
I can imagine.
around that same time, so I thought I was doing a good thing, trying to get into some sort of better shape, and get into martial arts. But around that same time, a friend of mine introduced me to all the UFCs, and I had gone back and watched every single UFC from the very beginning. And I told my wife if I ever found a jujitsu school nearby, I wanted to try it. And a friend of mine I worked with actually. He was I want to say he was a blue belt at that time, and he invited me to my first class, and my back was still blown out, but it felt so good to be on the mats and roll. Even just being my first class, I got beat up, but there was just something about it that wasn't as traumatic as taekwondo. So I knew right then and there I had to find a school. And from there, I found an introductory program near me, and I eventually started traveling about a half hour away to a jujitsu school.
So now, when you say you eventually start traveling half an hour away to jiu-jitsu, is that where you're at now is Leverage?
It's the same general area.
Yeah.
That was my first school. All of the core folks from Leverage started in the same place. There were only a handful. Actually, there were only like two schools back in that day. So this was like 12 years ago. But leverage is built on that foundation. We kind of left and started our own thing.
Okay, so great, because this actually leads into one of my topics I just want to discuss with you, especially with you. You've been doing it for years. You're a black belt. You've seen a lot, been around. For you, does it feel like that every black belt or every high level person eventually I don't want to say leave the school, but it's really important for them to find a tribe and find an affiliation that they really fit in with.
Yeah. I think at least in our area, um, the original foundation of jujitsu in the area was the Gracie family, and most of the schools around here are either like Helston Gracie, Hoist Gracie, or in our specific area, there was more Pedro Sauer. And I know he's not specifically the part of the family, but he's very, very close. He was like the last person to get his black belt, um, or the first non Gracie to get his black belt from Helio. So we've got like a really old school Gracie family lineage in this area. And then um, over time and different experiences, I met up. There was also a school that Salo and Shanji Hibero ran, actually really close to my job. And I met Shanji and just kind of fell in love with their style. And it was convenient for me. And I was kind of, for a lot of different reasons, I was kind of wanting a change. So I made a switch. And I was with the Hibero organization for about 4 years. And then ultimately, I reconnected with my coach now, Rob Heilman, who had started started at our first school, and he's the owner of Leverage. So I joined him right around 2014. So this is my third and final stop. And in 2015, I met Tom DeBlas, so we became an affiliate shortly after that.
So, where you're affiliated with Tom, Tom is very, I feel like his standards are higher than most. So, with that, what would you say are black belt standards? And what I mean by that is like training wise, competition wise, that sort of thing. And also the loyalty aspect, because Tom's really big on loyalty too.
Yeah, that honestly, I spent about a 6-month period just getting to know Tom and realizing what kind of guy he was and how he treated me. I'm pretty much not anybody important, and he went out of his way to really help me in a lot of ways. And I had told him the story of my coach and his journey and our school and kind of where we were. And right around that same time, Tom was thinking about starting an affiliation, and he actually invited us. We were the first official affiliate. We went for a visit. We trained, and we met with him, and he invited us. What I've found with Tom is he does a great job of setting the black belt standards differently for everyone. He has a way of knowing exactly what you need to do and holding you to it. For somebody like Gary Tonin, that might be different than me. A mid 40. I got my black belt when I was 46. So my competition career is fairly limited, but Tom thankfully recognized some other stuff that I do, and he set some goals for me, and he held me to them. He actually I was actually supposed to get my black belt a year early, and I missed a goal, and he held me to it, and I'm happy for that.
That's good. And I'm really glad that, like, because, you hear a lot of people that are like, well, I should have got my belt this day on this year, and they didn't give it to me, so I'm switching. And it's like, that's not how it works, guys. Like, if they didn't think you earned it, it's for a reason.
Yeah, I really believe, as cliche as this sounds, you have to trust your instructor. And I know it's hard because in the beginning we all want that piece of tape. We all want that fourth piece of tape. We all want that next belt. Um, but I think by the time I got to purple, um, every belt seemed to take a little bit longer. It took me about a year and a half to get my blue. Um, took me 2.5 more to get my purple. Then my brown was probably 3.5, 4 more, and then black was, I think, another 3 after that. So um, I'm just, I think after you get to purple, hopefully people figure out that chasing the belt's not the most important thing. And man, like I'm at the black belt level, but I feel like I've gotten to that point, but I feel like I start over every time I tie it on. Um, I do a lot. Most of what I do now is teach classes, and that I'm at best I'm a 4 stripe white belt at teaching. So um, you just start over, and that's what life is. Just challenging yourself, getting outside of your comfort levels.
Absolutely. And so, for anyone watching who doesn't know, you also write for like Jiu-Jitsu Times and several other websites. So, for you, what would you say you get out of writing? Is it kind of like your way of giving back, or is it just kind of helping spread the knowledge out there? And what do you enjoy most about writing and being involved in the community?
Yeah, I've been lucky to help with a lot of different websites, making memes, doing blog articles. Um, my my I've always loved to write. I've always loved to kind of be creative, kind of be funny, be humorous, and I guess my hope with my memes is to make somebody's journey a little easier. On those days when you're frustrated, hopefully, one of my goofy little memes can make someone smile, make them decide not to quit, decide to go back and laugh, because we all feel the same way. We all had days where we didn't get a stripe. We all had days where we got tapped. We all had days where we got demoralized by someone better than us. Um, that's what this is all about, and it's walking back in the door the next day that's important. So, especially with Tom, he helped me so much personally that back when I was working with Jiu-Jitsu Times, he and I did about 30 different articles, maybe more. My goal with those was just to try to share with everyone what Tom had done for me. And it's just one of my favorite quotes is by a guy named Zig Ziglar. He's like an old school motivational sales guy. He said, "You can get as much you can get everything you want if you help enough people get what they want." And I just feel like that's what I'm doing, and my work with Fanatics. Those Bernardo and Michael Zenga and the team, they've literally changed jujitsu in so many ways by creating this platform where these athletes share this knowledge so that you and I can study with a Gordon Ryan, study with a John Danaher, study with a Tom DeBlass, even if we can't get there, and we can learn, and those people can support themselves. Um, and Gordon and Gary and Tom and John Danaher are great examples of just how much people want that information.
So now, speaking of BJJ Fanatics, how did your involvement with them come around, and what would you say your advice to anyone who wanted to get into that group and try to give back something like that, or even be in that circle? What would you say your advice would be?
My advice. I spent a lot of time making memes to entertain myself and to entertain the people around me, and maybe to try to draw attention to people like Tom. And back when I was with the Hiberos, I would make memes about Solo and Shanji. Um, find something you like to do. It could be like you with this podcast. Find something you like to do. Um, it's going to be a long time of doing it just because you love it, and just be prepared to to grind through it. I was lucky. I answered an ad for a blogger, and it turned out to be Michael Zanga's email that came from. I got an email from Mike, and 4 years later, I'm now handling 7 or 8 different Instagram accounts, Facebook, social media for all of their channels. They just we have judo, wrestling, striking, basketball, strength and conditioning, racket sports. There's a there's a football site coming. So it they and their work with jujitsu, I truly believe it's going to go down. Um, they've helped revolutionize. They've helped. If you just look at leg locks in general, and I know Joe's an OG of the leg lock game, but when I started jujitsu, people were terrified of leg locks.
You were shunned for doing them back in the day.
Yeah, you were basically a cheater. You were a dirty fighter.
Yep.
Uh, Now it's such a science, and we have white belts and blue belts who are playing around with these ideas, and they're going to be so much better than we were, our generation was. And that's how it should be. Like, our up and coming students, man, they should be like showing us stuff now, and it's cool. It's really, really cool to watch.
Absolutely. And so I was going to ask you about the future fanatics, but you just kind of answered that. And so would you say, other than just, expanding it to other sports, is there anything else that we could keep an eye on to expect from the fanatics?
um and I didn't finish my answer. You asked specifically about advice. My advice would be, find something you love to do it so much and become so good at it that someone notices, and it's going to open doors for you. I truly believe that, and help everyone else, because when you help everyone else, they're going to help you. And it, just keep plugging away. Don't give up. If you love it, who cares if you get paid for it? Just have fun. I made silly memes and wrote blogs for pennies for forever, and it's paid off. It's now paid off. I actually left my corporate job to work full time with Fanatics, so um, it's really good. I'm really lucky. So as far as the future of Fanatics, um, lots more content. We're at the point right now where across all of the channels, we put out about 50 to 60 releases a month. Um, Probably 20 of those are jujitsu. Um, there's going to be an app that they're working on, so you can access your content on your devices through an app. That's been something that people have been wanting. Um, Really, it's just domination of all they want to be the leadership wants to be the one-stop shop for all sports. Like no matter what your passion is, they want to help you learn to be better at it, whatever it is.
They're definitely on the path to that. It's crazy how how far they've come.
For sure, for sure. It's just in they've only been around. I think this was their fifth. They just had their fifth or sixth anniversary. I forget, but I've been with them almost 4 years, and it's just blown up, absolutely blown up.
For sure. And so something y'all started up, I think it was last year when y'all started it, you all started trying to run tournaments too.
Yeah, we did the brown belt tournament. We did the other invitational. I think there'll probably be more of that in the future because everybody enjoyed doing it. I know the guys loved it. It also gave a lot of athletes opportunities to get to Boston and film who may have not ever gotten opportunities. I hopefully this pandemic and all this stuff goes away soon, and
Yeah, hopefully.
we could get back to something normal like that because the guys, obviously Bernardo, 5-time world champ, he loves competition. Michael Zenga is hugely competitive. He competes in the Masters Worlds every year. They enjoy that side of it. So I see more of that in the future. They're now Fanatics is now a sponsor of the next ADCC as well. So that'll be huge. So that's next September 2021 in Las Vegas.
That's awesome. I've seen Mo has was out looking for venues and stuff.
Yeah.
And so with the tournaments y'all ran, can you talk a little bit about your experience with that and your involvement with it and what you took away from those experiences?
The brown belt tournament. It was my first tournament to organize and get all the fighters and help with the brackets and really. I forget who said this quote, but they said once that life is like playing a violin solo in Times Square and learning the violin as you go. And that's kind of how I felt doing this tournament. It was a blast. It was hugely stressful, but so rewarding because just to see all those athletes, give them an opportunity to get on a stage they may never have gotten on, and for that brown belt one especially, there were a lot of athletes that got to actually make videos. So it's a cool thing to kind of break the mold. The classic way of making money in jiu-jitsu was try to win a bunch of titles and then open a school and then you're done. Now these guys have created a whole new way that these guys can make money, support themselves, and continue to train.
It's great. And it's really cool how it's evolved like that. And so my next question for you, which you might find this humorous me asking this, especially with who you deal with. So you do some of the marketing, right, with Fanatics and stuff?
Yeah.
So for you, do you ever find any particular, which I'm not calling anyone out, I'm just asking in general, do you ever find it hard to market some people because and maybe how they present themselves?
No, not really. For instance, one of our teammates, Gordon Ryan, he does a great job at self marketing. He doesn't need a lot of help. When I'm working on stuff related to Gordon and Gordon's products, I I tend to focus on what a fantastic teacher he is, because I think to the casual person that has no idea and they just see the online sort of back and forth and the fireworks, you may miss an opportunity to see what an amazing teacher he is. Um, I've been lucky to be at 3 of his seminars at our school. Um, I've been lucky to see him filming. Um, there, there are very few people that are as professional as he is when it comes to what he teaches and how he teaches, and the seriousness with which he takes questions. Um, he seems to have 48 hours in every day to answer people and to fight with people sometimes, but I tend to try to focus on the answering the questions. But to answer your question, not really. I think I think I really I really try to help promote the people that kind of struggle, because I don't think everybody's good at it. Obviously in our organization, Tom's really good at social media. Uh, John Danaher, Gary, they're all lively on social media.
For
Not
sure.
every not every athlete is like that. So sometimes sometimes you have to put a little extra spotlight on people that are maybe a little more shy when it comes to that. And yeah, it's fun though. It's fun though because they there wasn't that much instructional material when I started, and I kind of wish I was starting right now. But in a way, I am starting right now because I still learn stuff every single day. I've got a long ways to go before I'm comfortable with what I know.
That's crazy to think, especially how long have been doing it. So, with that being said, let's say you were starting over, starting again today, where there's so much content out there, even just on Fanatics alone. If you were to go and pick one instructional, what would you pick and why?
Um, how old am I when I start?
Um,
Can I start and be younger? Because if so, I would. I honestly, I think my answer would be the same no matter what. My style, I've always had a style that gravitated towards Tom's. Um, I like Tom's teaching. It's very straight and to the point. Um, I love Gary's teaching. I love Gordon and John's teaching. Um, those that group um, would pretty much be the perfect group to just kind of immerse yourself in. That would give you many lifetimes of material. You could spend. I asked Gordon once about how long, like if I threw myself into John Danaher's leg lock system, how long should it be until I feel good at it? He said 5 years. So when you look at the fact that John has what 12, 13 DVD systems out there, that's a lifetime of material. So those would be the ones I'd start with, but there are so many people that I've gotten to uh, learn from. Rafael Lovato, who was in the Hibero Association, he's one of the best instructors I've taken classes with him back in the day, and he's probably one of the best to ever put on a gi in the world. Um, one of the best Americans for sure. Um, even people, there's so many people, and you just have to kind of it kind of reminds me of obviously I'm older, so I'm going to sound like a grandparent, but I still remember the days when I used to have to record songs off the radio with a cassette player. Okay. Nowadays, I just hit a button and I have all of Led Zeppelin's music on my phone. And that's kind of like Fanatics right now. Um, Back in the day, you had to travel to California, take a class with Hoist Gracie, come back to Pennsylvania or Kentucky or wherever and practice. Well, now with just a few clicks of a button, I have material from Adam Wardzinski from Poland, um, Lachlan Giles from Australia, like people that I would never in my life have gotten to study with. I have access to their material, and it's kind of overwhelming. But you have to kind of pick what you're interested in. I know um, a lot of people buy things to get an edge. Um, Jiu-jitsu instructionals, I think, are a lot like golf lessons. These folks spend a lot of money to just try to get an edge on the golf course. That's kind of what we're doing with jiu-jitsu. If I just got smashed by some like guard passer, I might go look at Tom's guard retention DVD or Gordon's or something like that. So, it depends on what your interests are, what your challenges are, what your level is. There's you can't even name there are very few instructors that aren't on Fanatics. And that list is dwindling. And there's so many athletes on it that you may have never heard of, but can teach you a lot of great stuff. Um, yeah, it's fun. It's amazing. And I've seen a lot of athletes record DVDs and then blow up on social media because they become so popular. There's a guy who's part of the Globetrotters organization, Pritt Mickelson, from Estonia. He has a very unique, almost like a Danaher style to his teaching, very like thoughtful, and he's kind of like I think he's like 40-ish or maybe a few years older, but he's just got this style that people gravitate to, and he sells like crazy, and people love him, and they have him traveling all over the world based on his instructionals.
So now, for you all, would you say the way you all discover people, as far as like people do you want to film and want to sell? Would you say the best way for somebody to get noticed for that would be competition and social media?
No, not always. I mean, it helps. It helps. I think I think if somebody is interested, they should reach out to the guys. Somebody. I have people all the time that send me messages. Do you think they do an instructional with me? Blah blah blah. And depending on if I know them, I might put in a good word. Um, I don't think there's any like rules. You know what I mean? Like if you want to do an instructional with them, you got to ask them and get a conversation going and make a case for it. And obviously having an amazing resume and being an interesting person. And I think sometimes even if your resume's not you've never won ADCC, but you've got this kind of unique approach to jiu-jitsu, or a unique maybe you teach a position in a very cool way that no one's seen. Boy, that's gonna make you stand out. That's gonna make people want to, a lot of people, they come to Fanatics and they might want to buy Gordon's, say the sale's going on, like we're having our Labor Day sale right now, so everything's 35% off. I might come for Gordon and I might see, oh, here's Joe Schmo. He teaches a really cool butterfly guard. I'll pop that in my cart, get it while I have it. You know what I mean? While the sale's going on. So I don't think there's any rule to it.
Awesome. Todd, you've been really informative. I really enjoy getting to talk with you. Before we sign off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Obviously, our guy Tom DeBlas. You know, without Tom, um, my life would be less stressful. Um, no, obviously, I owe Tom a lot. I want to give all my teammates at Leverage, my coach Rob Howman, all my fellow coaches, uh, all of our students who have stuck with us through the pandemic, and have come back and been training with us. Uh, Michael Zenga, Bernardo Faria, Mike Reardon, and all the team members at Fanatics who put all those DVDs together, or all those instructionals rather. Yeah, that's about it.
Great. I'm gonna give a shout to our sponsors, B2G Coffee and Sleeps Apparel. They've been great. Todd, you are awesome. Like I said, it was a great interview. I really love getting to sit and chat with you.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I'm glad you did. It was really informative. Until next time, I'm signing off here.
Take care, everybody.